You're dull, she scoffed. A routine. A placeholder. She thought she'd buried him in boredom. What she didn't know, he was already watching, already planning. And by the time the truth came out, she wasn't just exposed, she was erased. Let's begin. My name's Ethan Cole, and if you'd asked anyone in Larchwood, Virginia, what kind of man I was, you'd get the same answer every time. Decent. I pay my taxes early. I water my neighbors' plants when they traveled. I donated to dog shelters, even though I'm allergic to fur. I was that guy, stable, predictable, a human IKEA table. And in the eyes of my wife, boring. Her name is Madeline Cole, though she kept her maiden name professionally, Madeline Grant. She was beautiful, in that ruthless, commercial kind of way. Think ice blonde, always camera ready, jawline sharp enough to file a lawsuit. She was an auditor for a high-profile finance consultancy, always dressed like every hallway was a runway. And me? I sold auto parts. VP of marketing for a mid-tier company called Falco Drive Systems. We supplied brake rotors and engine mounts to dealerships up and down the East Coast. Madeline and I had been married for 6 years. No kids. Her words, pregnancy ruins everything except Instagram likes. The first time she said it, I thought she was joking. The fifth time, I knew better. Our house was modern, our schedule tighter than a military routine, and our intimacy, mechanical. Like she was doing squats for engagement, not affection. I'd try, light candles, play music, ask her about her day. She'd mutter, fine, and tap through emails mid-dinner. When we did make love, she lay there stiff, arms folded, eyes open, like I was a hotel mattress she couldn't get refunded. Then came the night it snapped. I had lit candles again, tried, again, and when I leaned in to kiss her neck, she said flatly, let's get it over with. I have an early meeting. I pulled away, silent. Something burned in me. Not anger, not heartbreak. Awakening. I got dressed. Quietly. She didn't even ask where I was going. That night, I went to the only person I trusted, Jaden Ross, my best friend since second grade and head of IT at Falco Drive. We once hacked our middle school bell system to loop the Friday song for 4 straight periods. I walked into his server room. The hum of data surrounding us like white noise therapy for broken men. Jaden looked up and said, "You okay, man?" I shook my head. "I think she's cheating on me." He didn't ask why, just turned to his rig. "Give me a minute." The next day, he called me into his office. Locking the door behind us, he dropped a silver laptop in front of me like it was radioactive. "This was supposed to go back to the CEO," he said, "but I cloned it first." "CEO?" "Yeah, Graham Sinclair. My boss. My mentor. My wife's a lover." And when I opened the first folder, there she was, Madeline, in red lace I hadn't seen since year 2 of our marriage. Posing. Teasing. Captioned, "Guess what I'm wearing under my pencil skirt today?" Graham replied, "Something that isn't your wedding ring." I kept scrolling. The texts were worse. Jokes about me. Pity. Condescension. One line from Graham read, "He probably still thinks a dinner out means Olive Garden." But it wasn't just sex. Jaden leaned in. "This gets darker." He showed me spreadsheets, audits, password-protected folders. Madeline had been altering quarterly reports. Falco Drive wasn't losing money, despite what Graham was telling the board. No, they were faking losses, siphoning funds through fake supply costs, bogus invoices, and empty shell firms. And the money? It was being reinvested through a private investor group based in Monterrey, Mexico. Las Fuentes Group. Sounds elegant, right? Only, it was a cartel. And Madeline, she wasn't just complicit. She was their financial front. At first, I couldn't breathe. My skin went cold. Then, something inside me shifted. Some men cry. Others drink. I didn't do either. I watched. I learned. And I made a plan. By the end of that night, I had a second laptop with a clone data fee from Graham's machine. Every time Madeline sent a message or filed a report, it came to me too. I knew about every secret dinner, every hotel, every offshore transaction. In one thread, a message marked secure, made my stomach turn. Graham, Las Fuentes won't know. They're too busy with their Colombia expansion. Madeline, you sure? Graham, it's clean. Even if they find out, we'll be in Dubai by then. They weren't just betraying me. They were stealing from killers. And so, I did the only thing more dangerous than staying silent. I reached out to them. Not directly, of course, but through a tip line Jaden found buried in an encrypted leak. A digital whisper, a breadcrumb, and someone answered. Not with a name, just a time, a place, a warning. Be alone, be clean, be sure. I showed up. No wire, no trace, no bluff. And when I told them everything, I didn't ask for revenge. I simply said, they used me. They made me look like a fool. I just want them gone. The man across from me, dark jacket, tattooed knuckles, a voice like gravel, looked up slowly and said, that can be arranged. The night after I handed over the evidence to the man with gravel in his throat, I didn't go home. I sat in my truck at the edge of an abandoned gas station parking lot and watched the moon through a cracked windshield. My phone was off. My wedding ring sat in the cup holder, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking, not from fear, but from restraint. I wanted to scream, to burn the house down while she slept, to send her every file, every screenshot, every word she ever whispered to Graham about how dull I was. But I didn't, because for the first time in my life, I was playing the long game. By morning, I returned to the house. Madeline was in the kitchen, flawless in a white blouse and black slacks, sipping coffee like she hadn't ripped my spine out 2 nights ago. She barely looked up. Morning, she muttered, then added with a hint of mockery, you disappeared last night. Date with your dignity. I smiled softly. Had to think. Needed air. You smell like gas. I was at a station. She chuckled like I was a moron. Then she left for work, heels clicking like gunshots across tile. Later that day, Jaden called. His voice was lower than usual. Bro, something's happening at the office. Sinclair's gone. What do you mean gone? Like vanished. His car's in the lot, but he didn't show up to the board meeting. His assistant said 2 men came into his office early this morning. She heard yelling. Then nothing. My throat went dry. They were cartel, Jaden whispered. They were real quiet, real calm, and nobody's seen him since. I didn't speak. I couldn't. I just watched the sky from my office window as it turned gray. Something in my gut twisted, not guilt. Justice. Do you think Madeline knows? Jaden asked. Not yet, I said. But she will. I spent the next 24 hours prepping everything. Deleted my search history. Wiped the laptop clone. Shredded the original files. Removed any trace that could link me to the meeting. Then I waited. And Madeline delivered. Just like I knew she would. The next evening, she came home later than usual. Her face was pale. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Something's wrong, she said finally, sitting at the edge of our bed. What happened? She hesitated, then lied. One of our clients is missing. He left the country suddenly. Took some money. Wow, I said deadpan. Shocking. She turned to me slowly. Did you hear anything at work? No, I said expressionless. But if there's anything I can do to help. She squinted. Something about my tone must have struck a chord. You okay? Better than ever. For 3 days, I watched her unravel. She stayed up late whispering into her phone. Called her office from our bathroom. Deleted messages the second they came in. She thought I wasn't paying attention. She thought I was still the background noise she'd gotten used to ignoring. But I watched. I listened. I learned. And then the cartel came knocking. Again. Not literally. Not at the door. That would be crude. Instead, they sent an envelope. Black. Sealed. Dropped into my mailbox with no return address. Inside, a photo. Of Graham. Dead. Mouth open. Eyes frozen. Rope burns around his wrists. And scribbled on the back, in handwriting that looked like it had been etched with a knife. Debt closed. One more to go. I folded the photo carefully and tucked it into a safe under my floorboards. Not because I was scared, but because I wasn't done. Madeline still walked free, still wore silk robes, and pretended she wasn't involved in laundering blood money. Still hummed to herself in the shower and smiled when she thought no one was watching. But I was watching, and I had one final move left. The night before I was set to disappear, I cooked dinner. Steak, asparagus, wine. She raised a brow. You cook now. Wanted to try something new, I said. She didn't ask questions. Halfway through the meal, I set my fork down. Do you love me? I asked. She blinked, then laughed. Are you serious? Yes. She looked at me like I'd asked if she wanted to start a puppet show. Ethan, I love what we built, but not me. She didn't answer, and I didn't need her to. I'm leaving town for a while, I said, rising from the table. Company trip. Might be gone a few days. Since when does marketing travel? We're expanding west. She narrowed her eyes. You're acting weird. I smiled. You have no idea. That night, I left the house quietly. One bag, one passport, one goal. Disappear before the final curtain dropped on Madeline. Because I wasn't going to kill her. I wasn't going to yell or scream or send evidence to the FBI. No, I'd already done something far worse. I gave her name and every number she ever touched to a man who didn't speak unless it was followed by violence. And when they came for her, I wouldn't be there. I'd be drinking coconut water in a place where the Wi-Fi was slow and the memories even slower. Because revenge, when cooked just right, should be served without fingerprints. The morning after I vanished, Madeline woke up alone. No note, no calls, no messages. At first, she probably shrugged it off. She was used to my absence. Emotionally, if not physically. She likely made her smoothie, answered her emails, and left for work in her usual $1,000 heels. But the chaos started before she reached her office. The moment she stepped into the lobby of Garnett and Moore Consulting, her company's headquarters, two men in tailored black suits intercepted her near the elevators. No smiles, no badges, just a single question. Are you Madeline Grant? She nodded, blinking. One of them leaned in and whispered something that made her knees buckle. They didn't escort her to her office. They took her out the back exit. Jaden texted me one word. They got her. I was already in the Caymans by then. A small beachside hotel. The kind of place where the staff doesn't ask questions and the drinks arrive before you finish ordering. I stared out at the waves, wondering what was happening back home. But I didn't have to wonder for long. Because Diego called. Same calm voice. Same controlled chill behind every word. She cried, he said. Said she didn't know. Said she was used. Said she was scared. I stayed quiet. Diego continued, but she signed things. Numbers don't lie. I took a breath. So what now? There was a pause on the line. Then, she's gone. My throat tightened. I wasn't sure if it was satisfaction or sorrow. Maybe both. She asked for you, he added after a beat. Said you were good. Said she was sorry. I closed my eyes. The ocean breeze felt colder suddenly. What did you tell her? I asked. Diego chuckled faintly. That you were living free. And that some men only break once. But when they do, they don't come back. The line went dead. I sat in silence. I should have felt triumphant. But I only felt empty. Because revenge doesn't come with closure. It just comes with space. Space between who you were and who you had to become. Madeline's name disappeared from every registry within a week. Her office cleared. Her accounts frozen. Her photos scrubbed. It was like she never existed. And me? I got an envelope. No return address. Just a thick stack of cash and a handwritten note in perfect block letters. Debt erased. Life returned. You owe nothing. No signature. No threat. Just silence. For the first time in years, peace felt real. But something inside me still whispered, this wasn't the end. It was just a reset. A year passed. No knocks at the door. No photos of corpses. No more envelopes. I changed everything. I became Daniel Mercer, a man with no past, no attachments, and no lingering scent of betrayal. I moved west, rented a modest place in Oregon, worked remotely under a different LLC Jaden helped me set up. My beard grew out. My muscles filled in. I smiled more. I even met someone. Her name was Emma Reese, a nurse with eyes that saw straight through walls. She didn't ask too many questions. Just smiled at the way I carried groceries for old women and fixed broken locks in our building without being asked. We dated quietly, slowly, honestly. The first time I told her I loved her, she froze. Then she whispered, "Thank you for not rushing me. No one's ever made love feel safe." That night, we slept wrapped in silence, the good kind. Not the kind Madeline left behind. One afternoon, I got a call from Jaden. His voice sounded distant but light. "You good?" Finally good," I said. He laughed. "You deserve that." We talked for hours. About nothing. About everything. And before we hung up, he said something I didn't expect. "There's no trace of you in the old world, Ethan. It's like you died and came back better." I held that sentence in my chest for weeks. Then came the baby. Emma got pregnant in the spring. We didn't plan it. But we didn't panic either. I remember sitting on the floor of the nursery. We were painting, blue dripping from the edges of the walls, and thinking, this is my second chance. My actual life starts here. And for a while it did. Until the knock came. 3 taps. Rhythmic. Heavy. Familiar. I opened the door slowly. There he was. The envelope man. Same dead stare. Same pressed shirt. Same uncanny silence. Only this time, he wasn't holding an envelope. He was holding a duffel bag. He sat on my doorstep. Didn't speak. Just turned and walked away. I didn't call after him. I waited until Emma was upstairs. Then unzipped it. Stacks of cash. And tucked between them, a single folded note. For the child. He has your eyes. D. I read it twice. Then burned it. Because I understood. You don't escape men like Diego. You just live in the quiet they give you. For as long as they allow. And if they ever want you again, you don't run. You listen. 3 years later, I was a father. Caleb Reese Mercer, my son, had Emma's smile and my cautious eyes. We lived in a small home outside Ashland. Wooden porch, wind chimes, a garden that mostly grew tomatoes and weeds. Our life was peaceful, almost unreal. Until one day, it wasn't. It started small. A news story. American businessman Graham Sinclair, still missing after 4 years. I stared at the screen, coffee growing cold in my hand. I hadn't seen that name in years. Hearing it again was like a ghost brushing against my spine. Emma walked in behind me. You okay? Yeah, I lied. Old coworker. Just surprised. But I wasn't okay. Because deep down, I knew. The quiet was ending. Later that night, after Caleb fell asleep, I stepped outside. The air was sharp. Still. And there was again. 3 knocks. I turned slowly. Same man. Older now. Scar near his jaw. Same eyes, blank, deadly, unwavering. But this time he spoke. Mr. DeLuca wants to meet. I didn't move. You're the only one he ever trusted outside the family. And there's something he wants to give you. I stared at him. Why now? Because you're not a ghost anymore, Mr. Mercer. You're a father. You have a name. A presence. A weakness. I looked toward the window. Emma stood inside holding Caleb, framed in golden light. I swallowed. I'm not getting involved again. The man nodded, then handed me an envelope anyway. Inside, a passport, a plane ticket, a small black thumb drive, and a note. Come alone. No tricks. No debts. Just truth. D. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in Caleb's room, watched his tiny chest rise and fall, ran my fingers along the edge of his crib like a man carving the outline of everything he stood to lose. By morning, I knew. I couldn't go, but I couldn't ignore it either. So I sent someone to my place. Jaden. He didn't argue. Just said, if I don't come back, name your next kid after me. 2 days later, he returned. Alive. Shaken. Changed. He handed me a flash drive. It's all there. Every file. Every number. Every account. Diego wanted you to have it in case something ever happened to him. What's on it? Enough to make kings fall. I buried it. Literally. In a metal box. Beneath a tree I planted the week Caleb was born. And I made myself a promise. If anyone ever came for my family, if the past came calling, I wouldn't run this time. I'd end it. Because revenge taught me one thing. Betrayal is loud. But real love, it's the quiet you protect, with blood if you have to.